Doomsday 3.
We're in Doomsday 1.
No question in my mind.
He came from one of the toughest areas of Phoenix, both in this country, of course.
On the defense, talking about it. You better get your ass the ball. You better get your ball.
I just gotta say, when it comes to former Dallas,
Different.
For sure, and they would have thrown it off because
This guy gets off you.
Solid from and then I go to bed every night like G-Man, I promise you that we got a special What is up, Cowboys Nation? Your boy Mike Tag here. I'm running a little solo tonight. So we'll see how long we hang. Matters how much I'm entertained by you, and it matters how much you're entertained by me. But before we get rolling, we'll definitely have Uncle Cheech. We're getting things going. Jimmy's on vacation. He's not a coward. He's not hiding because his Falcons couldn't get the job done and take care of the Commanders for your boy. Very, very disappointed in that in my man Jimmy Dee. But it is what it is, and the Commanders are going to the playoffs. So I lost my bet. I'm losing a lot of things, it seems, lately. Losing all my bets. So 2024 could not end soon enough for your boy Mike Tag. I'm sure Cowboys Nation, you guys probably feel the same way. It's been not a good year. From the very start, talking about the Packers in the playoffs, and then obviously the last game against Philly. You know, we were crippled, but they had their backup quarterback too. So they still had a lot of their weapons, of course, but you know, it is what it is. And the Cowboys just Cooper Rush just, you know, we all said he ain't it, and he ain't it. But kudos to Rico for getting 1,000 yards in the season and really only being the guy for half the year as they were splitting carries between him and everyone. So definitely, you know, congrats to him. But we still need a running back. What's up, Bugsy? What's going on, man? Well, very, 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 very bad to hear that, man. Hopefully you're okay, which you are, because you're chiming in the cave. But we never want to hear anybody get in an accident. Thank God you're okay. That's the most important thing. Cars and all that stuff can be replaced, but you just definitely can't replace, you know, obviously life. So Cuts, my man, I showed off some of my stuff for Cuts, and you know, you couldn't help but get some new gear. It was on a, you know, I don't have to pay for it, so it makes it really nice. But got some new gear, so I'm wearing it today under protest, because I was really hoping next week would be an opportunity for the Cowboys to really stick it to Washington, because Washington, that's our historic biggest rival. I mean, Philly's like the wannabe rival, like they want to be our rival, but historically, Washington Redskins, Dallas Cowboys, there is no love and no love lost for either one of them, and that's the way it is. Philly and Dallas, it's really what I would call seasonal. If Philly's good and we stink, it really doesn't matter. If we're good and they stink, it really doesn't matter. If they're good and we're good, hey, it matters. I mean, it's important. But Washington, no matter if we stink and they're good, we hate them. If we're good and they stink, we hate them. And if we're both good, we hate each other. And the feeling's mutual, goes both ways. So I really am disappointed that I didn't get the opportunity for Dallas to kind of hinder Washington's chance in the playoffs. And it was really up to the Atlanta Falcons and how that coach has a job today with that. You guys talk about clock management problems and criticizing McCarthy. Oh my God, man, the Atlanta Falcons, absolutely. It was embarrassing. 2 timeouts, 50 seconds left. they make a play to get to like the 50-yard line, and they just let the clock roll to 12 seconds for no reason. Just really idiotic. Really idiotic. Yeah, football. Yeah, I love football. So I don't want to say it's hard to watch. It's been disappointing, obviously, as a Cowboy fan, and just seeing them decimated with injuries and just, everything that happened in 2024 we could talk about. But, I love football. I mean, I will be watching. I don't know if I'll be watching this week. And I'll be honest with you, there's, and we'll get into it. It sounds like there's going to be a Will Grier and Trey Lance sighting. So maybe they're treating this like a preseason game. If they do that, I'll probably, I live in Florida. There's a hell of a lot better things to do than watch preseason football. So I don't know what I'll end up doing for the last game, but hopefully they at least, play. Really, winning and losing is not going to affect their draft position too much. They're sitting at 13. If San Francisco had a miracle and beat the Lions, they would move up a little bit because San Francisco, I think, beat them. So they might get up to like 12 or 11. If they were to win, I think the furthest they're going to, fall back is like 15, maybe 16. So really, they're in that 12 to 15 range of pick, which is fine. They're going to get a good guy. They're going to get someone good. So it's, we'll see what happens. But appreciate everybody in the chat. Appreciate the love. Congrats, Carl. Eagles played well. Eagles got some talent. I still don't think they're going to go anywhere. I think probably worst case scenario could happen for them is if Green Bay ends up being the 7th seed. That is a team that I would not want to play right now in the playoffs. I think if I'm handicapping Philly, what I think Philly's going to be hoping for is Washington falls down to the 7th seed. If that happens, I think Philly's a better team than Washington. As you guys can tell, I have no feelings for Washington. I'm not a believer in them. They got a rabbit's foot up their ass or something this year because, they probably should have lost about 4 games that they ended up winning, but they won. So I can't hate on them. They won, and that's all that matters. No one cares how you get it done as long as you get the W. So that's really it. So, we'll see what happens, man. We'll see. But let me just check in the chat. Are we criticizing Micah? I don't know. I'm not going to criticize Micah if that's what you're saying. Yeah, I think Atlanta's doomed. Tampa's going to get in the playoffs. But Tampa is like Philly's Achilles heel, but Tampa wins the division. They're going to be the 4 seed. So lucky for Philly, they're not going to see him. They're not going to have to worry about Tampa because Tampa probably won't get out of the first round. And if they did, more than likely they'd end up playing Detroit, which, believe it or not, I think Tampa gave Detroit like one of their only 2 losses. But that was way early in the season, and things change so fast. The teams that you can't go by. I know Philly will say, well, we beat Green Bay on the opening day in Brazil. It's a different team. The Rams are a totally different team. I think the Rams are going to be dangerous. I think the Packers are going to be dangerous. And when I say that, I'm talking the obvious Detroit or Minnesota. They've got a game. Minnesota could easily end up being the number 1 seed, which blows my mind, which just tells you these teams, the Eagles, the Jaguars, the Cowboys, I don't know if the Chargers did or not, but you pay these quarterbacks that aren't Mahomes, but you pay them like Mahomes. Sometimes that's not the best investment. And when you see a guy like Sam Darnold leading a Minnesota Viking team, that makes you wonder, should you go a mid? Should you go a Baker and then surround a lot of talent around him? Is that a better approach? But I don't know. We'll see. That remains to be seen. It's a quarterback-driven league. Quarterbacks are the face of the franchise. They're the big money guys. So you just never know. And I'm happy for Darnold. I know it's USC, SoCal. I know that. I like Darnold. I thought he got a raw deal with the Jets. And I've always been a fan of his. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, but I believe no matter what happens, Falk, is the Vikings and Lions play next week for the number 1 seed. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the way NFL, I saw it announced. So unless I read it wrong, it is for the number 1 seed. No matter what happens with the Lions tonight, next week would be for the number 1 seed. They made it the primetime Sunday night game. So if I'm right, let me know. If I'm wrong, let me know too. Let me just check this. I'll call in the morning. Okay. So anyway, it is what it is. Let's see. See, Bugsy says I'm right. I like to be right because I've been wrong so many times. But we're going to get into the Cowboys. We're going to get into the almost like a 2024 year in review as we get closer and closer to that new year. And let me just say, if I'm the first to do it, Happy New Year. I won't be talking to you guys more than likely until next year. And I, for one, am happy that 2024 is over. Obviously, for reasons of the Cowboys. Personally, there's been just a lot of things in the personal life and this life, all these things that kind of go with it. I am ready for 2025. I'm looking forward to seeing my son will be 21. He started a new job tonight. He's going to be starting to become a man and finding his way. So I think 2025 is going to be great for him. My daughter is going to be leaving the nest and going away to college, breaking her dad's heart. She is going to be going away to college. So 2025, there's a lot of excitement there. So I am ready. And I think this Cowboys team, which we'll get into, I think the Cowboys team is going to be fine in 2025. Look at this roster. Like I said, the only way they weren't going to win double digits is if they got decimated with catastrophic injuries. And maybe I jinxed them. If I did, I apologize. But what I said is the only way that would happen did happen. And unfortunately for the Cowboys, it is what it is. But we've been a little spoiled with the 12-win seasons. And that's why I say you got to capitalize on that. And they didn't. And just as quick as it goes, as quick as it can go away. So, but let me switch gears because your boy is solo. I want to get to the chat. You guys are going really fast for me, but I want to bring in Uncle Cheech. Uncle Cheech might be happy that 2024 is over because he had a hot streak. He got a little cold in the end, but this is his last chance to finish strong, get over, which I think he's over 500. If he's not, hopefully he's very close to it with his locks, but we're going to get in to Uncle Cheech. So let me find, I'm just going to go old school with this, and I won't play him the intro music. For some reason, they flagged my intro music, which they should do. But let's get Uncle Cheech in here. What is happening to my main man, Uncle Cheech? Hopefully you got a roof over your head. I know you got hit by the hurricane. You've been waiting and waiting. I don't know if you need to get maybe some tough guys to talk to these people and let them know who runs the show. But did you get your roof yet?
I'm still waiting.
Well, that's not good. I mean, did you have to? Are you going to talk to somebody? Are you going to? You might have to break it through.
I'm sending Maria LaBeiche over there to straighten them out.
Oh, well, very good, very good, very good. So, but yeah. So first of all, hopefully, you obviously had a great Christmas. Had spent time with the family. I know maybe you had some Italian cuisine. You had all the good stuff. Hopefully your Christmas was good. And I don't know about you. I'm ready for 2025. I know you're a Canes fan. I didn't even touch on the Canes. Obviously happy with some stuff, sad with other things. But are you ready for 2025?
Oh, yeah. Ready to start.
Very good. Very good. What was before we get into your picks, just to wrap a bow on it, the whole Cam Ward, I mean, it's really people outside the university and the fan base that made this bigger than what it actually was. But, I mean, you have any thoughts on it? Or?
Yeah, my thought is they're lucky he played. I mean, it's a meaningless bowl game. Why take a chance on getting hurt when you know you're top 5 or top 10 draft pick?
Yeah.
You got to be crazy. These fans are idiots. I know what to tell. Nobody's a bigger Miami fan than me, but it didn't matter to me. These bowl games, unless you're in the playoffs now, don't mean anything.
Yeah.
And there's no chance to get hit with a cheap shot maybe and have your career over with before it starts.
Well, and that's what I said. Like, I believe it or not, I know you've been to a couple games. I have not been. I hadn't seen Cam Ward play live. So my son wanted to go to the game for Christmas, part of his Christmas gift, because Cam Ward was playing. I said, you know what? I'm down, because I didn't know how long he'd play. I heard he'd play a series. I heard he'd play a quarter, may play a half or whatever it was. So to me as a fan, it was a great opportunity to see Cam Ward play live in a Canes uniform, give him a proper send-off, all that kind of good stuff. So I had no issues on it. Now, if you're a degenerate and you're betting on the game, you're betting on bowl games that are basically practice games. I mean, Miami had 7 guys that weren't even playing. And like, if Cam Ward stayed in the game, they obviously win. He left them with a 10-point lead. He threw for 200 yards, 3 touchdowns. What more do you want him to do? If he stays in the second half and breaks his leg, are they calling him an idiot, or are they going to call him a hero?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Remember McGahee? I know that was a championship game. And if this was a championship game, I guarantee you he would have played the whole game.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Restrepo didn't play.
Restrepo would have been. Everybody would have been there.
Yeah.
But the game was a joke. I wouldn't risk it. No way.
What do they do with the bowl games? Because it's now that you have the transfer portal, you got guys with NIL, you got guys that aren't going to play fear of injury. I mean, all they are is a money grab for the networks, pretty much, right? That's so. What do they do?
As a gambler, I wouldn't bet on any of these bowl games.
But do you think, like, I made the point of
money?
Well, what I made the point of is maybe they should try and go for intriguing matchups to maybe garner interest. Like, what do you think the ratings would have been if it was Miami, Colorado, where you had Shador versus Cam?
Well, the way Miami got roughed up Saturday.
I'm not worried about who wins. I mean, they got roughed up too.
Colorado. You might have got more viewers with that. Maybe.
Yeah, I think you go for intrigue. I think you got to find games of intrigue. Like, if you found like a Miami, Michigan or Miami, USC, like you find some of those older, maybe historic rival that they don't really play. And I know that it's still a practice game, but
the traditional schools,
it would
have a big tradition.
It would make it interesting. It would make it interesting. But the Giants did your boy a favor, because I figured Cam was going to the Giants. The Giants wanted him. They end up winning a game. They go from the first pick to the 4th pick. You got the Browns and you got the Titans there. You think that they're going to take a quarterback, so you think that you may end up with Cam going to Cleveland or Tennessee.
That's what they're showing, projecting Cam going to Cleveland.
Yeah. So I'm happy that the Giants won the game. They did me a favor, because I did not want to see Cam in the division. I love the guy, and I think he's going to be a great quarterback in the NFL at the next level. So I'm just glad he's not in our division, hopefully. So
that cost me yesterday. That was my lock. I had Indianapolis, and I found out Joe Flacco was playing.
Yes.
And that was the end of that. That's why I'm not picking any NFL games this week.
No.
Will called me up and said Denver's 10-point favorite over Kansas City. So they must be sitting the whole team.
They probably would, but how do you know?
No, I understand. That's why take a shot?
No.
I can't see it.
No, I'm not going to. This week 17, the only game, if you're going to bet, and it's a scary bet, but Detroit, Minnesota, they're going to play their asses off. I mean,
they're playing for something.
Yes. Yeah. I mean,
and the Whales got big money. Called me today on Detroit tonight. They better cover.
Wow.
Big money.
Yeah, they should. But I tell you, San Francisco and Dallas have been mirror images of each other this year. Injuries, just problems. I mean, just bad start, everything that you can kind of talk about. And it wouldn't surprise me to see San Francisco just pull one out of their ass and this is their playoff game, and they just try and win it. I mean, it wouldn't shock me. Again, a game I probably wouldn't bet.
They're on the road. I mean, they're home, and you never know with these games near the end of the year. That's why I don't like beginning of the year, the end of the year. When you get into the playoffs, all right, now they're playing for something.
Yeah. No, I'm with
when you get near the end of the year, they might keep players out. I mean, I was surprised that when Hurts not playing, I thought you guys had a decent shot.
Yeah, but you don't have CD. I mean,
No, I
you might as well
I
forget
understand
about it.
that.
I mean, Brandon Cooks is not a 1. He's really a 3 at the age in his career. They had no weapons. Cooper Rush is not. I mean, he's just not. He's not good. He's okay, but he's not good. And the Eagles have killed him every time they've played against him too. So they've had his number on top of it, And then you can't. I mean, Philly. It caught. Washington got away with it against Philly with 5 turnovers and winning. The Cowboys with that offense were not going to get away with 4 turnovers and winning. That just wasn't going to happen.
Getting off the subject, you watch that Atlanta game last night?
Well, I talked about it in the beginning, and I talked to Jimmy. Jimmy is MIA. No one knows where he's at. He said
Probably out hunting down that coach. What an idiot!
Should he be fired? Should that coach be fired? Does anyone understand? Is that coach in Atlanta? How is he still employed with 2 timeouts, 50 seconds left, and you just let the clock run down to nothing? I mean, how stupid!
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
I was telling Benita. I said he's got 2 timeouts. What the hell is he doing?
Yeah,
it was like 50 seconds. He let it run down to like 16 seconds. They could have got it in field goal range and won the game. It's possible. A couple plays, they're in field goal range. They win by 1.
Yeah.
It's an idiot.
No, and hey, I want to give Corey, definitely with your Lions. I'm rooting for the Lions, so I will say I'm rooting for the Lions. But that's what and I've said it. I mean, the Cowboys could have easily gone forward and whatever it is now, 17 games. What's my math is not that great anymore. They could have easily, packed it in, went 4-13. They did fight. I mean, they fought. And as a fan, I love those guys on the field. And those guys didn't quit. Those guys fought. They were overmatched in almost every single game. I mean, you saw what Tampa did to that Carolina. Was it Carolina they played? Dallas went in there and they played them tough. And, they did what they had to do. It's just they were overmatched and outmanned and outgunned with all the injuries this season. It's really unfortunate, but I think their future will be bright with what I saw. I mean, the cornerback got absolutely annihilated. They picked up off the street against the Eagles. I mean, they just humiliated that guy. I don't know how he's employed, but they had no cornerbacks. What are they going to do? What are they going to do? So, But anyway, what is the thoughts with Cheech? I think you picked a playoff game. If my memory's right, you did take ASU getting the points.
That was supposed to be my upset, and I screwed up. So that's my upset this week.
Okay, so we'll roll with it.
Texas at Arizona State plus 13. It went down a point, plus 13.
Yeah,
that's going to be my upset. Common.
Do you think Texas will win, or do you think it'll be close?
Let's talk about a common opponent. Miami and Arizona State both played Iowa State. Miami gave them 42 points. Arizona State gave them 19.
Yeah, but I'm not the bowl games. I'm not gonna. That doesn't hold a lot of weight with.
They're a little better than people are giving credit for.
No, I think they would. But do you think they could beat Texas? Or are you saying it's going to be close?
Texas got a lot of talent, but stranger things have happened. I don't know if they can beat them, but I think they can keep it closer than what the experts are saying.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
But any team can win any given day.
Absolutely. I think Texas's Achilles heel seems to be Georgia, right? I mean, Georgia's beaten them twice. I mean, that's been one of their.
But they're going to lose too.
What?
Georgia's going to lose too, so they don't have to worry about them.
Yeah, I don't know if they're long. I don't know if they're long for.
That's my other pick. I'll give it to you because I'm just picking the playoff games. I'll take Notre Dame +1.
Notre Dame +1
at Georgia. Georgia's quarterback's out. I know the backup played well last week, gave him a spark and this and that, but that was last week. This is this week. I don't think the same thing's going to happen. I'll take Notre Dame, and I hate Notre Dame, but I'm going to take them anyway.
Yeah, well, I'm torn with that one because I don't like Notre Dame. I want to ask Ultra because Ultra is a Texas fan, and I'm being serious and I'm being sarcastic to you, Ultra. I know I jab you on Texas, but it's all in love. Quinn Ewers, what are you hearing in Texas? Is he Do you think he's going to declare for the draft? There is rumors about them saying that he needs to stay another year, which if he does, I don't think Texas wants him. I think they want to get Arch going. And there's rumors he may be one of those portal guys that Miami is looking for at quarterback. So I'm just curious, Ultra, if you have any insight on the Texas side, is there any truth to Ewers possibly leaving and not going into the draft, entering the transfer portal, and possibly going to another team? I'm curious. Have you heard anything about that, Cheech?
I haven't heard it.
Yeah, I saw it on a couple Canes blogs, but
I didn't get as much inside information I used to. All the coaches I know are dead now. So.
Yeah. Well, Ultra believes he's going to transfer. And if he does, I think Miami is going to be one of the prime landing spots because I saw what the future looks like. And I know my man Malik Rozier, he swears by Emory, but there ain't no way in hell like that guy's a quarterback.
Well, they better get their defense in place first. They can't stop anybody.
But do you think I sat next to someone and he was I should have got his number. This guy should have a podcast. He talked the whole game. But he broke everything down. It was like an education lesson as I'm sitting there. And we were talking before the game, and he said the defensive coordinator is the problem. Miami's up 21 against Syracuse. The coordinator's still playing man. He's still blitzing. The cornerback's 30 yards off. You should be going too high. Make them go down the field. You're going against the number 2, number 3, or number 3 and number 4 wide receivers in college football, two on the same team that are number 3 and 4 in contested catches.
Well, that's
and you're
what
paying
I meant.
man to man.
The coordinator.
Yes, they got talent.
I'm surprised he didn't get fired yet.
It's ridiculous.
And if you don't get fired, then there's something wrong at the head coaching position.
Well, let me tell you something funny. I was at the game, and where my seats were is where the Canes come out. And Mikey, I wish if he wasn't working, I'd make him come on to tell the story. So he was down to get a picture with Michael Irvin. Michael Irvin was there. Edgerrin was there. Hester was there. And so we got some pictures and whatever. And a fan yelled at what's the coordinator's name? I forgot his name, but anyway. Gidry, is it Gidry? He said, Gidry, you effing suck. Get your ass out of the stadium. Like something like that. The coordinator turned around and was looking for the guy. He spent 30 seconds looking in the stands trying to figure out who this guy was. But he was dead right. He should have been off the field, but it was funny. But yeah, the coordinator's a problem. I didn't mean to digress. But anyway, what was your second pick? You had Notre Dame, Georgia. What was your next pick?
And I had the Texas, Arizona. Now I'm going to take Penn State or Boise State. I'm going to go with the underdog again. I'm going to take Boise State and 10.
10. Double digits is a lot. All the early games were blowouts. Nothing was competitive. Now, are you thinking Boise can win outright, or are you just saying they're going to keep it?
They got a good running attack. The guy hasn't rushed for under 125 yards per game all year.
Yeah.
The rushing attack, if you got a good running game, it keeps their offense off the field. Penn State gives up points. If you watch it when they played, what was it, Ohio State, 45, 38, whatever. I mean, they give up points.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm going to take a shot. I mean, I'm not advising anybody to bet on these.
They're fun. These are fun. Playoff games are fun.
But Boise State was my dark horse at the beginning of the year, remember? So
gotta ride with it.
Yeah. So I ride it to the end.
What's your next one?
My lock.
Lock.
This my lock, Ohio State -2.5 at Oregon. Hard to beat the same team twice.
Wow.
I'll take Ohio State, and I hate them too, but
I do not want to see that happen.
You don't bet your heart, bet your wallet.
I know. I do not want to see that happen. I do not want to see that happen.
It was close last time, and I don't know. I think Ohio State, Oregon gives up a lot of points too.
They do.
It's just like the old Dolphins. They no defense. They just outscored the other team.
Yeah. No.
But I don't think that's going to happen this time.
No. I think Oregon's going to beat them. I hope I'm speaking from the heart. I do not like Ohio State. If I were to predict the matchups, I think Texas wins. I think Georgia's going to win. I think even though they got the backup, they seem to play better with him. I think Penn State. And I think the better teams. I think the higher seed teams, the better teams are going to win. That's just.
We'll see. I can't wait. That's going to be fun.
No, it's going to be good. Like I love this is my favorite time of year. You got playoff football in the NFL. You got college football now playoffs. So I mean, it is. You couldn't ask for a better month of football coming up. So it's going to be exciting. No NFL picks. You saw the playoffs. Everything is kind of pretty much set. There's one seed left. Denver, pretty much all they got to do is win, and they're in. They're more than likely playing a Kansas City team that is not going to be playing Mahomes and some of their guys. Denver desperately needs to win, so they're going to be playing really hard. So that's what's going to be it. Who's your sleeper in each conference? I know Detroit. We know Kansas City. Who's the team that man, I'd be watching this team. I would not want to play them in the playoffs.
I wouldn't want to play the Rams right now.
Yeah, that was one of mine. Rams and Packers are my two in the NFC.
Well, Packers, that was my pick at the beginning.
Well, they're the seventh seed, so I mean.
But they came back last night. I mean, that was my push. I had Green Bay +2.
Yeah.
And they came back. A little more time. I mean, they were moving the ball effectively the last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So they let them back in the game. That's what a little nervous about Minnesota next week. They got to step on their throat and.
No, absolutely. I'm talking dark horse. I'm not talking. I know Detroit. Detroit's the obvious one. Who's the team you don't want to play? So in the AFC, AFC is so top heavy. But would you be worried? I'm going to throw one out there. If Denver slips up and the Bengals end up in the playoffs, I wouldn't be looking forward to playing them.
No, I agree with you on that one.
That would be it. Otherwise, it's got to be the Bills and the Chiefs are on a collision course.
That's why they play. You don't know. Chargers don't look too bad either. So.
No, but I just think
he's a good quarterback. I like him a lot, Herbert.
Yeah, well, he blew a 21-point lead in the playoffs, but that goes without saying. Yeah. So, all right, Uncle Cheech. Now I'm going to talk some Cowboys. I know you don't really care about that, so I will let you roll to go do your stuff, and I definitely appreciate it.
I'm going to get a nice glass of wine. I'm going to go put the game on.
Yes.
Like I want to wish everybody a happy New Year and stay safe. Don't do nothing crazy. I'm not even going out New Year's. I'm going out to dinner early. Coming home, put the game on. I think it starts at 7:30, and I'm not leaving the house. I don't go on the roads anymore.
Yeah, no.
The Ravens. I forgot about them too. Yeah,
the Ravens are good. I just don't think that they're to the level. I just don't. In the playoffs, I'm not a believer in Lamar Jackson. That's just me. I think Allen, and I think I'd take Mahomes and Allen over him. A lot. So anyway.
All right, guys. Happy New Year, everybody.
All right, we'll see you, Uncle Cheech. You take care. I'll see you.
Good night.
All right, there we go. Got one little Uncle Cheech. You get a little Uncle Cheech before the new year. There's definitely nothing wrong with that. You can never have enough Uncle Cheech. And definitely, hey, we're going to talk some NFL. Doesn't have to be all Cowboys, but we're going to talk some NFL. Now, you got your picks out of the way. It's ballsy. If you guys are betting on college football playoff, it's ballsy because college is so unpredictable, and these games are going to be some good matchups. But I think there is some value. I think there is some value with some of these point spreads to where you say, you know what, maybe there'll be a close game, may not win it, but you look at Arizona State, you look at Boise State, they're getting double digits. There might be some value in there. I'd stay away from Notre Dame, and you're only talking 1 point. Ohio State, 2 points. I would not touch any of those games. If I'm betting, I'm trying to bet for value. But as we get into it, make sure you hit that subscribe, like, share. I wanted to go back because I did want to talk about a couple things, and my man Ultra he mentioned it. I don't know if I can go back far enough. If you guys stay patient, because there's a lot of inner fighting in here. But let's see. Ultra had said something that I was going to touch on, and it is Ferguson. And I love me some Jake Ferguson, and I had him as my really breakout star in, not only for the tight end in the NFL, but just kind of becoming that heir apparent to Kelsey and Kittle, and being that next generation guy to carry the torch. And it has been very disappointing. And I'd like to say it has to do with the quarterback, but what's disappointed me is his ball security, focus. I mean, that all comes with it. It just did not have the season that I had hoped, and I'm sure a lot of Cowboy fans have hoped. And then you look at it, and you look at a Schoonmaker, and to me, Schoonmaker was a big surprise. He was clutch. He made big catches. He did everything that he was asked to do. So maybe that draft pick for Schoonmaker isn't going to be so bad after all. I don't know. I mean, time will certainly tell. My man Ferguson is, he's dating one of the Cavender twins that go to Miami on the basketball team. And if he's distracted, I mean, that's probably a decent reason to be distracted. But I just need Ferguson in 2025 to be focused on football. He needs to remember what Mickey told Rocky is women weaken legs. You got to make sure you stay focused and stay hungry. So I expect Ferguson to bounce back, but I don't know. Is he up for a contract? Someone tell me. Is he a free agent yet, or has he got one more year? He don't deserve a big contract. That's for damn sure. If Schoonmaker runs a 4.6 and more athletic, yeah. No, I mean, Schoonmaker, he showed me something. I was definitely disappointed in Ferguson. There's a lot of hype, and the play didn't live up to the hype, if I'm being honest. And I just got to call it the way it is. So I look at some disappointments, and we talk about who was disappointing this season. And really, take the injuries out of it. Because, you can't change anything. But Tolbert was disappointing. He's made some good catches. He obviously caught a touchdown against the Eagles. He caught a touchdown, I think, against the Bucks. But I haven't seen that elevation of getting to that next level. So he has been kind of a disappointment for me. I would say Mozzie was a guy that has played better. And I think he has played better under Zimmer. I think he got better as the year went on. Mozzie's never going to, I mean, if you're expecting to be Aaron Donald, that's not what he is. He's not going to be the sack guy. He is going to be hopefully a space eater and good against the run. I thought he played better. You can't take the injuries out of it. I don't know what that is. I don't know. If I missed you, I apologize. But the other part of a disappointment, obviously Diggs. Diggs disappointed me a lot this year. Obviously, he's coming off an injury, so maybe I got to give a pass. But the vibes I got, I don't know if he's back in 2025. Just being honest, I don't know. I don't know what his cap hit. I don't know what the ramifications would be. But that is something that I think they're going to have to think about. And is he, because the one thing on the good side, one of the big things I saw, obviously overshown before he got injured. Leafau, I think is going to be a solid linebacker. Could be a star in the making. We'll see. Time will tell. You never want to anoint them Hall of Famers after one season, but he definitely shows that, that knack for being around the football, which is always a good thing. He's always around making tackles. So I'm happy with him. Parsons, like I've said, is what I love about him this year is the leadership. I think he's matured. I think he's moved into that leadership role where I think this is his team. I think this is Micah Parsons' team. And I think, I think it's only going to be the sky's the limit even more for him. Some of the things he said in the locker room, he's not so robotic. What I've always had against Dak, especially being in that leadership role, is he's very robotic. When you hear his press conferences, he's very calculated in everything that he says. And I'm more old school. I like the guy. I want to hear the way it is. I want, if you're playing like shit, man, say you're playing like shit. If you got to play better, say you got to be player. If you're playing good, say you're playing good, pound your chest, all that kind of stuff. So that's what I'd love to see with Micah Parsons this year. That made me feel good. The other exciting thing for me is I think the offensive line. I don't know how you guys feel. Offensive line, I think the offensive line is definitely a very bright future ahead. I think Guyton will get better. I think that Bass and Hoffman and their opportunities, I think I'd like both of those guys going into the year. I think Steele is the question mark, but, you really haven't heard much about Steele lately. I mean, so maybe he's gotten better. I know Rush gets the ball out a lot faster, so, maybe that has something to do with it. But I think they can address that with free agency. If I am BB, another one, BB's another guy, so high on him. I think this offensive, they should not be drafting offensive linemen until late in the draft. If I'm the Cowboys, and we're going to get into some draft stuff, if I'm the Cowboys, I'm going skill everywhere. The whole draft, I'm going skill. I'm going wide receiver, 1. I'm going running back. I'm going defensive end. I'm going cornerback. I'm addressing the skill position. And why I go receiver 1 for a couple things. One, they need someone that strikes fear opposite CD Lamb. Right now they don't. And you saw it in the Philly game. If CD's out, you might as well forget about it. It's over. I mean, they don't have a snowball's chance in hell of doing anything. I don't want to pay for Higgins. I don't want to pay a veteran receiver because now you got these 2 big contracts. I think if you draft a receiver in the first round, you got 5 years of it. You got 4 years, and you got to pick up the option. By 5 years, CD is, his career is kind of winding down. So I think if he's good enough, then he takes it over. And I think that's where you've got to be smart with your money and with your cap. And of course, I think they draft a running back. You use them for 4 years, and I think the Cowboys need to be disciplined. After 4 years, no contract. Unless it's a reasonable one, you just let them go. You draft another one, and you move on. So that's what I would do. And hopefully you're agreeing with me, or you're agreeing with the chat. But you said 100%. And if I'm talking, I want to make sure you're agreeing with me, and everyone knows that you're agreeing with me, even if you're not. So anyway, that's what I would be doing if it were me. You can address, and you're saying draft trenches. They've been drafting trenches forever. They've been drafting. I don't need trenches. You can get in free agency. They've got enough. They got their offensive line is fine. Defensive tackles you could pick up in free agency, and you can pick them up in value. You can get the guy that fits your scheme. There's no guesswork. Is this guy going to be right? Is this guy going to live up to hype? None of that shit. I'm using that in free agency. What I'm drafting is the highest price guys are quarterback or wide receiver, is going to be a pass rusher, a left tackle. I'm building those guys in a draft because I need to take advantage of that 5 years or 4-year contract and get out of them. The Cowboys, their draft this year, there's a lot of bright spots. The last year's draft that everyone said was going to be shit, I see some bright spots with it. So I think that, they've been drafting well, but they need to get away from drafting the linemen and start focusing on skill. They got to get skill. So there you go. So I think with the 13th pick, my man Ultra, and I know he's a draft guru, he says we should be able to get a really good receiver, which I'd be happy with. And I wouldn't mind taking another receiver. I would almost get rid of every receiver but CD. Call me crazy. I wouldn't have an issue with it. I wouldn't have an issue if they got a receiver at 1 And if Restrepo was there at 3, you go get him. You got your slot guy. You got your big guy. You got CD. Now we're cooking with some offense right here. You hear what I said? Go get yourself a running back, and we're feeling pretty good. So, Overshown, I'm hoping and praying he can get back from that injury. I mean, a nasty injury. Like I said, I don't want to see anybody getting hurt. I don't want to see a Philly guy, and I don't like Philly or Washington or New York, any team in our division. I don't want to see guys get hurt. I don't like it. I want to see the best players play. That's just me. Now, if we beat them and they don't have their guys, it is what it is. I mean, Philly had a parade. They beat a depleted Dallas Cowboys team that didn't have shit on their whole offense, and they're pumping their chest like they won the Super Bowl. Have at it. Good luck. Have fun with it. Really wasn't a huge surprise that Philly won the game. So, but anyway, it is what it is. But I think that's what the Cowboys kind of need to do. The more important thing is really getting your thoughts on what you saw happen, because maybe Philly did Dallas a favor in the grand scheme of things. You know me, I'm positive. So I always try and figure out what is negative that can be positive. And it's the Philly fans. And I saw, and you guys all saw the video that went out of the Philly fan, and I thought it was great. I love Philly fans for this. They are funny, and I'll always give them that. But they said, Jerry, keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. And Jerry, he had to take it, and he tried to laugh it off, and he could laugh it off, but it was that laugh of he was embarrassed laugh. It was embarrassing. And maybe, just maybe, that is the fire, that the foot in the ass of Jerry to say, you know what, they're laughing. I'm a laughing stock now, because it's not only Philly that does it. I mean, every team has done it. If you go to the game, I've heard it. I mean, at the home games, you hear it. So maybe with Philly, and that thing went viral. It got a lot of views. It got run on ESPN. It got run on NFL Network. And Jerry sees everything. So maybe that's something that Jerry, maybe that's something that will be a blessing for this Cowboys. Maybe that's what the medicine the doctor ordered, because you could say what you want. This team is still, the nucleus of this team is still a team that won 36 games in the regular season the last 3 years. There's talent on this team. This team won 7 games with shit on their team. You understand? 0. I mean, you're without multiple All-Pros, your starting quarterback, no running game for most of the year. You basically were a shell of yourself, and they beat 3 playoff teams. I don't know if Dallas healthy beat 3 playoff teams last season. So this team is talented. There's, take the injuries out when they come back. There is no reason this team isn't going to bounce back. And the craziest thing of it all, and I don't know if it's a knock against our division, or if it's a kudos to our division, but we've now had the 20th year of not having a repeat division winner, which blows my mind, because I think, New England won their division like 20 years in a row or something like that. And you have Dallas won 7, Philly won 7. I think that would have been the Giants won 3 or 4, and then the Washington won 2 or 3, something like that. I don't know how it went, but I don't that's crazy. I mean, that's crazy to me that division is, but it's the flow of the NFL. You don't have San Francisco, and you don't have Dallas in the playoffs this year, and you're going to get new fresh faces. And that's what the NFL wants. They want parity, and that's what you get. But Dallas can turn it around once they get healthy. Their problem was injuries, and get the injuries back. They need to address some free agency to give depth, because that's what it proved. They lost guys, didn't replace them, and when those guys got hurt, you had no one to throw in there. I mean, you're throwing guys off the street going up against Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. I mean, forget about it. That I could have been back there throwing the ball and hitting them as open as they were. So, yeah, I think Zach Martin is definitely I think it's his last year. Hate to see it. Steele did Steele. I'm trying to read you. It was going fast. Steele had similar late season. He did. He did, but I don't know if he's the answer that you want. And absolutely hang the banner, an NFC title. I mean, absolutely. I mean, you got to be proud of it, and you should be proud of it. And I know Philly more than any other team because they actually hang division banners in their stadium. I mean, I've never seen a stadium. I've been to almost every stadium. I've never seen a stadium do that, but Philly's proud of their division championship. So absolutely, congratulations. You got to wear it, get the hat, get the T-shirt, go spend your money, and then sit on the couch in a couple weeks and enjoy yourself. So you got to be proud of that. Absolutely. And maybe get they sell the big pictures of your NFC, division championship. I mean, definitely you got to do it. I don't know why they haven't. It took them 50 something years to get their first one, but you'd think they'd have more than one. It's kind of embarrassing because I would say this. I will give Philly their due. Those McNabb years, 4 straight championship games, NFC championship games, lost them, at home. How embarrassing. But they had runs. I mean, they had opportunity and they just never could capitalize on it. But they had talent. I mean, shit, the teams in the early 90s, I mean, you talk about a defense, unbelievable defense. I mean, absolutely terrorized teams, but they never could get it done. So it's been a disappointment, I'm sure, for their fans to only have one because you should have more. I mean, that you look at the years that they've had, they absolutely should have more. Absolutely should have more. But for whatever reason, they just couldn't get it done in the playoffs, and they couldn't capitalize on those years. Maybe they can do it this year. I don't think so. I don't think so. And definitely, I love Saquon. I mean, I don't know if you find a better person. I was happy for him. The only thing I'd say, and I'm old school, the whole record of Eric Dickerson, he did that in 16 games. And I know it's 17 games, and so a lot of these records will get broken. But I think it's been the quietest 2,000-yard campaign I've ever seen because I didn't even know he was that close. And he ended up getting 2,000 yards. Happy for him. He's a great – I mean, I just love – I think what I love more is that he stuck it to the Giants so bad, and it was displayed on television for everyone to see with Hard Knocks. I think that's what probably makes me love it more than anything, because I think they even said it's not like he's going to get 2,000 yards or something. They said something and end up biting him in the ass. So, but I like it. I don't want to. I mean, if he gets it, gets it. But to me, it has an asterisk because Eric Dickerson did it in 16 games, and he didn't need it. There wasn't an extra. If you want to be fair, go ahead, look up the game and see what Eric Dickerson ran for in the playoffs, and then add that yardage to it. And I think if that was a year against Dallas, I think he ran for like 250. And if Barkley can do that, then I would say it's legit in my eyes. And it's not that it's not legit. I mean, you could argue O.J. Simpson had 2,000 yards. I think that was a 14-game season. So O.J. Simpson probably has the ultimate argument, but we won't let him slide with anything. I mean, he doesn't. He gets no run in this place. So, but anyway, yeah. I mean, I was shocked too how many carries he has. I mean, that's a lot of carries. I mean, I hadn't seen that, and with consistency, you haven't seen that forever, but with consistency since the Emmitt Smith days. I mean, Emmitt Smith's the only running back that I know that could carry the ball that many times, and he was productive year after year after year. It's hard to do. I mean, you think about who was the guy who got 2,000 yards on the Bengals? Was it Jamal Lewis, right? Wasn't it Jamal Lewis? And then he just kind of disappeared. CJ, right? Chris Johnson, he disappeared after it. So it definitely weighs on it. It definitely weighs on it. So, but it's games. I don't care about carries. I mean, the game is different back then. Back then, running backs actually carried the ball like 30 times a game. It was a different game. So, Terrell Davis, he fell off a cliff. Yeah, he was another one. So it is. I mean, the running back is the one position these guys take a beating. Yeah, there you go. DeMarco Murray. Philly was dumb enough to sign him. How'd that work out? But it's different. It's different. And I get what you're saying, Lewis. I can't argue it because I kind of answered my own question because I'm 99% sure OJ Simpson did it in 14 games. So who am I to argue? So if he gets it, congratulations. I think it wouldn't be smart because they've got playoffs, and I'd be very worried. I'd be very worried about him, taking those hits unnecessarily. They won the division. They're locked in where they are. They really don't have a whole lot to play for. You got a quarterback that is coming off concussion. I don't know if I'm strolling all my guys out there. You're probably playing the Packers unless things happen. I would want to be at full strength against the Packers because they're going to need every player they got against that team. That team's playing good football right now. It is not going to be a cakewalk by any stretch. The Packers have been one of those sneaky teams, and they've gotten better, and it'll be interesting to see what happens with them. I mean, they were down a shit ton against Minnesota and came roaring back on the road. So it'll be interesting. No, money's going to be good, my man. Money is going to be good, Steven. We gotta, we got to make sure that everything is. We got to stay positive. We got to hope Jerry learned a valuable lesson. That's all I can do, man. I'm a Cowboys fan, so all I got is hope. That's all I can do. I ain't going nowhere. I would not sit him for a world record. Yeah, I don't think that's Hall of Fame automatic. Is Jamal Lewis in the Hall of Fame? Let me know. Is Chris Johnson in the Hall of Fame? I don't think he is. I don't think it's automatic. I think what would get Saquon in the Hall of Fame, it's hard for running backs now because they don't have the longevity. He has to have the longevity and sustain success over time. And you look like a guy like Frank Gore. I mean, Frank Gore will probably get in the Hall of Fame. Now, I think he's a borderline Hall of Famer. I'm just being honest. I think he was just really good for a long time, and that's coming from a Hurricane fan. But I don't know if he's a Hall of Famer. You look like a Fred Taylor. Fred Taylor didn't have the longevity. He's going to have a hard time getting in the Hall of Fame. I saw his name on there, but he was he was really, really good with the Jaguars for a while. So I think running backs are going to have a hard time in this generation getting in the Hall of Fame because they do look at your stats, and it's going to matter. And when you're ranking and you're not in the top 10, it's going to be hard. Now, Frank Gore, I mean, he's the third, right? Is he third or second? What is he all-time rusher? Is he third or second? I can't remember. I mean, I think he's second. That's hard. I mean, that's going to be hard not to put him in. It's going to be hard not to put him in, but I don't know. It'll be interesting. I think Terrell Davis got in not because of 2,000 yards, but because of 2 Super Bowls. And he was really the catalyst of getting those 2 Super Bowls with John Elway. So that's where I think a lot of this determines. And I don't think it's Saquon with the offensive line. I think it's Saquon's healthy. Because when Saquon was healthy with the Giants, he was one of the top running backs in the NFL. Running back, it's health. I mean, yeah, the offensive line is important, but if you're not on the field, it really doesn't matter. And, Saquon has been healthy. He's been healthy on a good football team. Doesn't hurt, but health has been the most important. I think Frank Gore is past, man. There you go. Walter, then Frank. Yeah, he's third. Okay. Peyton's still second. All right. Or no, Barry, I think, is second. Isn't Barry second above Peyton? I don't know. Anyway, I digress. I probably should know all this shit off the top of my head. but I don't. But yeah, I guess Peyton's still second. Man, Peterson. Yeah, see, Adrian Peterson. He's another one, man. I mean, I would think he'd be in the Hall of Fame, right? I mean, he's another 2,000-yard rusher, but he was a beast. He was a beast. So he's on a different level. Barry didn't pass Walter. Yeah, Barry could have passed them all. I mean, I'll be the first to tell you, Barry could have easily passed them all. But Barry was different. And I had this argument, and we can get into it. We'll get into it on another show, Barry versus Emmett. And I think a better runner of the football, Barry Sanders, no doubt about it. A better football player, a better running back that I would want in big games and in Super Bowls and playoffs, I'm taking Emmitt Smith all day, every day. And it has nothing. It's not a knock on Barry. It's just Emmett went forward. Barry lost a lot of yards. He lost sometimes, he'd lose like 20 yards, but then he'd gain 80. It'd be something like that. But yeah, and Barry did have a line. I mean, go look at the All-Pros that he had on his line. He didn't have a shitty line. Now, he didn't have, and the funny thing is people talk about the Dallas line. Go watch Kevin Gogan's interview. Go talk with him in the offensive line, because I asked him that question because I wanted to know. I said, it's always out there. Did the line make Emmett, or did the Emmett make the line? And go listen to his answer. He's the guy who played on the team. He's the guy who blocked for Emmitt Smith. And go see what he says. And I'll take his word for it over mine or anyone else's. Now, they're a good offensive line, but you also got to remember, you guys are making it seem like that Dallas Cowboy offensive line, and I've said it a million times, and younger generation, and I'm not saying you are, so don't take offense to what I'm getting ready to say, because you may know it already. That offensive line was a bunch of cast-offs. 3 of the offensive linemen were from the Tom Landry era that were drafted in the 7th round. 2 of them were undrafted. One of them was drafted as a defensive tackle, and that's what he started his career at. They moved him to right tackle, and he ended up having a pretty damn good career. The other one had a pretty damn good career, and the other one ate himself out of the league, got back into the league after the USFL, and did it. Their only offensive lineman is Eric Williams that they got in the 3rd round. Stepnoski they got as well. Wasn't the top draft pick. They have in Emmett's really his prime years, he had 0 Hall of Famers on his offensive line. I mean, Larry Allen came a few years later, so half of his career was with Larry Allen. So you can definitely you throw him into the mix. But Emmitt Smith, when you watched him run, you just go watch the interview and listen to the guys who blocked for him, and then tell me why Derek Lassick couldn't run the football when Emmitt Smith held out and they lost 2 games. Go tell me the same line that you're telling me what it's all about. Go look up and see how many yards Derek Lassick ran for, and go tell me what the Cowboys record is, and then go tell me what the Dallas Cowboys record was when Emmitt Smith didn't play, and then come back. It don't work that way. Trust me. It's a team thing. One helped the other. Make no mistake about it. But one wasn't the reason the other one was a Hall of Famer and wasn't one of the best running backs in the NFL. So anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. I don't mean any offense to anybody, but I am very partial to Emmitt Smith. I love Emmitt Smith. I'm thankful that the times I've met him have all been great, because I know when you meet one of your favorite players and guys you looked up to growing up and stuff, that if you have a bad experience, it could really leave a bad taste in your mouth. And thankfully, every time I've met Emmitt Smith, he was always great. So anyway, so we'll see. But Emmitt Smith was phenomenal. I don't know where we got sidetracked. We were talking about running backs, but it was a great combo. It was a great combo. So yeah, and offensive linemen can be generated. I think it's been proven. Bobby's talking about the Eagles with 1st round. I think the one thing that I've learned, again, talking with some of these players, it really they become one, and that's why I talked about with Hoffman and Bass, and now you got Smith and you get Guyton in there. These young guys, they work together, and the more they're together, the more that it's like a family. and one knows what the other one's doing, and it's vice versa. And I think that's what really makes a strong offensive line. It doesn't have to be, Cowboys had, let's just be honest. The Cowboys had 3 first-round draft picks on their offensive line, the Great Wall 2, and don't have anything to show for it. So, and you're talking about 2 guys that'll be in the Hall of Fame. One guy was on his way to the Hall of Fame, but he obviously had an illness that shortened his career. You're talking about great guys, and they were great, but at the end of the day, with the way the salary cap and the way everything goes, is you're going to have to build some stuff with some guys in the trenches. You need blue collar guys, and that's what the Dallas Cowboys were lacking. I think they got some of it with some of the guys they got in the draft over the last couple of years, but also some guys that they had undrafted free agent. They got some guys that some guys that give a shit. The one thing I would say about this year's team, which I will go to my grave saying, this team gave a shit. Now, were they as talented as the teams they played? No. They were outmanned, outgunned, out everything. Make no mistake about it. You're not replacing Dak Prescott, Micah Parsons, Diggs, all these guys, CeeDee Lamb. You can go down the list of all these guys. You're not replacing them. Tank Lawrence. You're not replacing them and going to be better all of a sudden. You're going to be worse, and you're going to be a lot worse. But they had guys that fought. They had no business beating Tampa. No business. No business beating Washington, even though I think Washington's overrated. No business beating the Carolina Panthers at home. They were hot. They were the favorite. Remember all that shit? They're the favorites. And the Cowboys went in there and smoked them. They gave a shit. And I think that's the most important thing with this team moving forward, because then when you get to your healthy guys, they did beat contenders. They did. They beat the Buccaneers and they beat the Commanders and they beat the Steelers. They beat 3 playoff teams. Decimated by injuries. They had Dak Prescott, but they didn't have, they were missing guys in Pittsburgh. But if you want to say Pittsburgh, fine, take away Pittsburgh. They beat the Commanders with shit, and they beat the Buccaneers with shit. That's just being honest. So they did. So playoff teams are contenders because they're in the playoffs to win a championship. I don't hear shit about that. Give me a break. What, you want them to go beat the Chiefs? Chiefs aren't a contender. Chiefs are a champion. The Lions aren't a contender. They're the number 1 seed. Contenders are getting the playoffs. You're a contender. You got a shot. You got a 1-7 shot of getting to the Super Bowl. That makes you a contender. So I don't know what the hell you guys are talking about, but I'm having fun with it. Anyway, someone else is being technical. It ain't me. I'm being straight up, but I am enjoying it. I love you guys, and when you're hanging out here, this is what you do. I love mixing it up. This is the only good when I'm solo. I can mix it up with the chat more. Usually, if it's Jimmy and I or Kelly and I, it's hard for me because I'm controlling everything. It's hard for me to focus on the chat, so I let Kelly and Jimmy run that. And when it's me myself, I have one overlay. I don't change anything. I focus on the chat because you guys are who I'm talking to now, because now I'm not talking to anyone else. So, but anyway, so we'll see. I think this team, the offseason is going to be critical, and the draft is going to be really important. We're going to get into that, and free agency to me is more important than ever, because they are not going to be able to fix everything in the draft. They're going to have to because they're going to lose guys. They're going to have to make tough decisions on some guys, and they're going to have to make good decisions on others. So that's the way the NFL, your roster recycles 30+% on every team every year. It's just the way it works. So we're going to see how it goes. We will be back live with Kelly after the new year. I want to hang with you guys. I love, you get 250 you guys chilling in the cave. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Hopefully you hit that subscribe, like, and share. I will be working on some interviews in the off season to try and help pass the time, because the off season takes so long. But we'll get some interviews. We had obviously some Cowboy legends. I've been trying to get an Eagle, but every Eagle I talk to, as soon as I say Cowboy, they hang up. They want nothing to do with the Cowboys. So I do respect it, but I'm gonna find me an eagle. I'm gonna find, and I had an eagle, but he was more of a buck. I want to find me a guy that was entrenched in the Cowboys rivalry, when it mattered. So definitely going to be working on that. And we've got a lot of other things in the hopper. So if you are just checking us out, you're tuning in, you're saying, hey, what's the deal with this Cowboys Cave? Hit that subscribe, hang with us. It's a lot of fun. The chat is usually always sometimes more entertaining than we are with all the inner fighting. It's still, and I love Bobby and I love Carl, but it still amazes me that I have Eagle fans that watch my show. I think it's cool, but I would never do it. And I'm not telling you not to stick with me, but I had spent this much time watching anything on Philadelphia, Washington, or Giants. I just don't have any interest in listening to some fan babble on about their team. But you guys might enjoy it. Maybe you enjoy me. Hopefully you do. Maybe it's Kelly. Maybe it's Jimmy. I don't know. Maybe it's Uncle Cheech. He's making you money. So you kind of hang with us for that. But I do appreciate it. But want to be the first. Wish you guys a happy new year. All seriousness, all kidding aside. Love all you guys that support the channel. It means a lot. You guys don't know what you do for me. I've said it before. This isn't about no money grab for me. I'm not looking for clicks. As you see, I even on Twitter, I haven't really been that active on Twitter because I don't have a lot to say. And I'm not going to get caught up in the clickbait of just saying shit just to say it. I say something that's on my mind or how I feel, or I don't say nothing at all. So that's what I do. I like talking more than writing. So that's why I did this channel, is so it gives me an opportunity to talk to people more than typing, because sometimes typing stuff out, things can get misconstrued and all this kind of stuff. So that's why I did the channel. But I do it for the love of it, man. You guys help me more than you know. My kids are getting older, job changes and things, life changes, things happen. So you guys are my constant. So I do appreciate it. I've been able to meet a lot of great people, and I'll be doing a kind of an end of year show with some videos and stuff like that of the different things. But I've had the opportunity to meet so many great people on opposing teams and on the Cowboys, and it's been a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to next year. Brighter days ahead in 2025 for my team. Hopefully your team, if your team doesn't win the Super Bowl, and your college team, your family, everything. I hope everyone has a great time and all the success. So I appreciate it. I appreciate it, Bobby. And we'll get you into a Cowboy Eagle game. You'll be a guest of mine one day. Because I'm actually friends with a lot of Eagles fans. I think there's something about it. They like me. A lot of my friends growing up and a lot of friends I have today are Eagle fans. So we have a lot of fun. We have a mutual respect. It's funny. When we win, I don't call them. And when they win, they don't call me. But then I have one that I never hear from him unless the Eagles win. Then he calls me. So like I heard from him twice this year. And then there's years I never hear from him. And then there's years I only hear from him once a year. So we have a roundabout of different friends. So I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for hanging with me solo. Hit that thumbs up on your way out. Happy New Year to all you guys. Best of luck to all your teams that you love in college football. And it's going to be a great week of playoffs. I'm excited. So definitely appreciate it. You guys take care. Happy New Year. I'm finding my exit. Stay with me. It's finding it. This is what happens when you go solo. But I do appreciate it. I'll do this for my man Jimmy. His Falcons choked it up one more time. I feel bad for him. Maybe something will happen. I don't know, but it may be over. But thumbs up, subscribe, like, share on your way out. Take care, guys. Happy New Year.
Give me somebody that's hungry. Give me somebody that's hungry. I need somebody.